Hi, thanks for being in a new video. This time I have the unboxing of the OPPO Find N3 and I am very excited. In other regions it's called the OnePlus Open, but it's the exact same model. Just so you know, in case you're watching from another country, let's get started. This device has just announced its arrival in Mexico. At the time of recording, I don't know its price, but if at the time of editing, we already know it. I'm going to put it on the screen with its equivalent in dollars. But remember that the prices here are not the same as there. The time has come for you to join me in uncovering this device. Note how from the box it gives us a somewhat serious tone, unlike the N3 Flip, which has a lighter tone in its box. However, in both cases, this letter H is integrated because of the collaboration with Hasselblad in the photographic system. Possibly that's the most attractive thing about this and the Flip, because OPPO is focusing a lot on improving the photographic experience within foldables. Let's get the cell phone out. Look at nothing but beauty of a device, and what is most striking, as with the Flip model, is that the crease area is virtually unnoticeable. Look, we're bringing in special guests. For starters, possibly the most famous foldable, which is Samsung's Galaxy Z Fold 5. Notice how its fold is too noticeable, and even has a lot more reflections compared to this special mica that OPPO's device has, which avoids a lot of reflections and also makes the fold definitely not noticeable. It's amazing what OPPO has achieved in this device. We also brought another guest, which in this case is the Honor Magic 10, and notice how likewise its completely superior design that OPPO has to disguise that hinge well. But if that wasn't enough, let's bring in another guest. Huawei Mate X3, also one of the most advanced foldable in the industry. And in fact, this one has a very good design as well. Notice how its fold is not that noticeable. But again, OPPO's design is completely superior. Amazing. There's not a doubt. It's the best foldable of the moment with respect to disguising, well, the fold area on the internal screen. Unbelievable. We haven't even fully seen this device and it's already blowing us away. Let's close it so you can notice how also on the back cover we have a super attractive design. It looks practically like a regular smartphone in this regard because the photo system looks very powerful with the Hasselblad H and the 3 cameras that we will describe in a moment. The flash is on the outside area and on the bottom we have the brand logo. Note how it also has the alert slider, which was a hallmark of OnePlus, then they removed it and then put it back, and now they take it back on OPPO branded devices as well, although I insist that this device is also sold in other regions under the name OnePlus Open. The truth is that it is too nice, this cell phone, but let's see what else comes in the box. For starters, we have the charger, which is 67 watts. OPPO's SuperVox charging is also present on their foldable. Obviously, in this case, the charging adapter does not correspond to my region because it is a review-only unit. But when you buy it, the charging adapter will come according to your region. A very good charger, and it stands out that it comes included in the box, since at least Samsung does not include charger. Let's see what else comes here. We have very good news because they do include a case. Although their folding cases are usually a bit uncomfortable for some users because they have some adhesives that you have to place if you want them to stay completely fixed. Personally, on the Galaxy Z Fold 5, which is the device I've been using recently, I only use the case on the back side because I find the front side a bit uncomfortable. Let's see how it looks on it. And it's already on. I find that it doesn't add too much thickness to the device overall, unlike the Samsung case, which, as you realize, results in a much thicker device. However, on Samsung you can store the S Pen here, which is a very useful tool. So in that sense, it does still feel like this OPPO device could be improved if it integrated some slot here for a stylus or something, but stylus are not very popular in other brands, only in Samsung. What I like about this case that OPPO integrates is that it does have a nice design. Notice how it has a faux leather finish, which is very similar to the finish we find on the device without the case on. So even if you use it with a case on, it still looks very nice and also gives a very nice feel to the touch. But let's take a look at what else comes in the box. It comes with a premium service card and also quick information sheets. Also coming in here is the tray removal tool, and that's it. Finally, at the bottom of the box comes the cable. As you can notice, it's not that long, but it's a good gauge to be able to transmit all the current from the Superbook load. It is very important that you use the original cable if you want to have the most charging power. Now let me put all these contents back in the box and we'll take a closer look at the phone. When setting it up, the device gives some important warnings, so it is essential that you take note of this because there is no need to remove the screen protector that comes attached. This is a special OPPO screen protector that has two important functions. For starters, protect the screen well and also give you this finish that avoids a lot of reflections, unlike the other devices that I showed you previously. Similarly, here it is noted that you do not make pressure with a sharp object in the area of the fold of the screen to avoid any special damage. That's all the care that stands out here. Although you should probably also consider that this is a device that has magnets, so if you have any medical devices that are affected by contact with magnets, you should also take that precaution. Let me finish the configuration and get back with you. I already have the device set up, and honestly, on first impressions, I am finding it to be an excellent device. Let me first tell you some technical details of its dimensions. This edition, which is made of synthetic leather, has a thickness of 6 mm when unfolded, and when folded, its thickness is 11.9 mm. It is not the thinnest foldable in the industry, but it is considerably well achieved in its design. So it looks compared against the Galaxy Z Fold 5 with respect to thickness. So it's thinner, although the Huawei foldable is still thinner. So that's why I'm telling you it's not the thinnest foldable in the industry, but it does have the most attractive photographic system in my view. Its weight in this Literete edition is 239 grams. That is, it weighs practically the same as the iPhone 14 Pro Max weighs, but in this case it considers all the extra space we have on screen. That is why it is so impressive the work they have done on this device. The external display is 6.31 inches in its diagonal. It still has 120 Hz in its refresh rate, although it can be decreased to 10 Hz in order to save battery. Its resolution is Full HD+, and we are in front of an OLED panel of very good quality in terms of visualization. On the other hand, the internal screen is 7.82 inches in its diagonal with a QXGA+ resolution. It is 2440 by 2268 pixels. In other words, it has a very square proportion. It has basically the same display in both directions, but if you want to have the horizontal view, you do have to rotate the device, unlike past generations where you just unfolded the device and you were already in a horizontal format. However, it was a less tall device. But notice how it has a much more traditional form factor, unlike the Galaxy Z Fold 5, which has a narrower and taller design. So this one looks much more traditional and more comfortable. Especially I think when typing with the on-screen keyboard is going to be much more comfortable on this device as opposed to the experience that we have on Samsung. And one thing I love about OPPO displays is that they support Pro XDR. Notice, here it's turned off and here it's turned on. It gives you a much more realistic feeling because the area where the picture gets much more illumination is also more intensely illuminated by the screen. This happens on both the external display and the internal display, giving us excellent quality. Not only do the photographs look more realistic, but they even gain a higher level of detail. Although it is difficult to show this through the camera, but seeing it in real life, you realize how impressive this technology is. Now let me talk quickly about the cameras because we have a lot of cameras. In this corner is one, on the outside is another camera, and back here we have three others. The inside front camera is 20 megapixels with f2.4 aperture, is the simplest of all the cameras. I think you're only going to use it for video calls. The external front camera is 32 megapixels with f2.4 aperture. From my point of view, it's still a simple camera, albeit with good resolution. But on the back we have the most powerful of photography. The main camera is 48 megapixels with f1.7 aperture, autofocus and optical stabilization. Then we have the telephoto camera with 3x optical zoom. That is, it is a lens of about 70 millimeters as opposed to the main lens which is about 24 millimeters. The aperture of this telephoto lens is f2.6 and its sensor is 64 megapixels. Finally, we have an ultra-wide camera with 48 megapixels and f2.2 aperture. However, just like what Apple OPPO does, OPPO considers a fourth telephoto camera with zoom 6x by cropping the sensor, which is high resolution. So the truth, the photographic system is very solid. Here I took some test pictures to start the preview, which doesn't look optimized, but after taking the picture we have perfect balance of lights and shadows. And remember that you can also take selfies with the rear system, because simply inside the selfie mode you have to press this button and it will tell us to unfold the phone, and this way we are now using these cameras and not the front camera. So we can also use the ultra-wide camera to take selfies. It also has an excellent balance of highlights and shadows with respect to the main camera. Look at the differences. This is a picture with the main camera and now this is a picture with the ultra-wide camera. As first impressions, it looks like a picture with enough detail. As usual, the ultra-wide camera might have some small distortions on the edges, but it doesn't really seem to be something serious. But what has caught my attention the most about this device is its zoom camera. This is a photograph 1x with optical quality, and it really does show a very good level of detail. Here we have the result with 3x, which is the lens specifically, so optical zoom. Excellent quality, very good level of detail, good colors, and here we have 6x, that is with zoom inside the sensor, a kind of virtual lens that seems to maintain excellent quality. It really does look like optical quality with 6x, and we still have a good level of detail. Then we have 30x, this would be 60x, and the maximum zoom, which is 120x, which obviously already looks too forced, but it really is impressive to achieve these capabilities with a folding device. Also, look at the portrait photography. This is a photograph with the 1x lens we have. The 2x photograph with the same quality, and this is the result with the 3x lens, which I insist gives us an excellent blur, a very good detection. So the portrait photographs are pleasing me a lot with this device. Really, if you were waiting for a foldable that had a high-end photographic system, we have finally found it, because I also forgot to say that the ultra-wide camera has autofocus, so it also serves for macro shots. By the way, you can also record video in 4K at 60 frames per second, and this quality is maintained with the three lenses, both the ultra-wide as the main and telephoto. The battery is another very strong point that is practically at the same level as any other traditional high-end device, as it is 4805 milliamps, and that again is spectacular considering how thin it becomes, this device. Plus it supports the load of 66 watts Super VOOC. It also brings side fingerprint reader, and it is also going to offer us 16 gigabytes of LPDDR5X RAM, and even better 512 gigabytes of internal storage UFS 4.0. So it is not only a device with very good camera, but also the rest of its specifications are very attractive. The processor is the Snapdragon 8 Gen 2, but before doing a benchmark test, let me update the software because it looks like it just got an update. So to have the latest software, let me install this. While installing the update that, despite being a highly competitive foldable, still has some things to improve, as the Samsung foldable does have water resistance, then it gives you much more security to use this foldable in case you get to fall into the water, because it will not be damaged easily. On the other hand, the OPPO Foldable does not have any certification in this regard. Also, although this foldable does have support for a special stylus, in reality that stylus is very sparsely distributed, and it seems that OPPO still does not have any ingenious way to store that stylus, unlike Samsung, which has a well-known S Pen that you can buy very easily and also has a good case to store it in. So I insist that it is a very good foldable, but it still has some details that can be perfected. And the hinge seems to me to currently be very good, as it is considerably stiff to maintain the angle of the fold you want. Although the very weight of the camera can cause that in these more open angles, the camera ends up pushing down on the device. But I think that's a natural thing because of the physics. Although anyway, even in this area that doesn't have as much weight, the folding is not able to maintain a very open angle because it ends up opening up. So that would be another point of improvement in the hinge. But I must tell you that this hinge offers us the highest durability in the industry, at least according to the words of OPPO. This will withstand 1,000,000 folds. That's a lot of durability in a hinge. Considering that Samsung once claimed 200,000 folds for the hinge of their folding hinges, and it's already a good thing. But in this case, OPPO went to the extreme. It seems that it is a hinge with a lot of durability, so it should cause us that feeling of confidence, although I insist that it loses precision in the most open angles, and I think that could still be improved. And now that the device has been updated, we are going to test how powerful this processor is. It's an excellent processor, but anyway, let's see how it scores. And here we have the result: 1,450 in single core and 4,950 in multi-core. It is definitely a device with very good power that even in games is going to perform at a very high level. Then it can easily become one of my favorite foldable. But another important point to improve is that it has neither wireless charging nor reversible wireless charging, two aspects that in a high-end equipment could become very expensive because they are two aspects to which high-end users may be accustomed. For the moment, this has been all for this video. If you liked it, you know you can indicate it, and we'll see you next time.